The International Committee of the Red Cross put out a statement on Wednesday saying the Nile River is lined with thousands of people looking to cross as they flee violence. The ICRC is providing basic aid such as blankets and cooking kits to 30,000 displaced people, and they've also deployed surgical teams to hospitals to provide emergency medical care to hundreds of thousands of people. Just how bad is the situation in South Sudan?
The situation is terrible, simply put. South Sudan, which has just recently come out of nearly 21 years of conflict, it is in a dire situation. It couldn't have been more dire, with close to 200,000 people who've got displaced and about 75,000 people seeking refuge in the UN campuses. It is an extremely dire situation, and at the International Federation of the Red Cross and Red Crescent Societies, our Secretary General, Mr. Bekele Geleta, is deeply concerned by the dire needs, particularly of those of the vulnerable folks, the women, the children, the old. And he has instructed our offices to provide every possible support to the South Sudanese Red Cross, which recently became a member of the Red Cross Red Crescent movement, to ensure that they have all the help, all the capacities, all the necessities to meet with this dire situation. But clearly, South Sudan is a major challenge right now.
The UN says there's increasing proof that civilians have been targeted for their ethnicity. Are we looking at another Somalia or another Rwanda?
You know, I think the important thing to keep in mind is that following the Comprehensive Peace Agreement of 2005 and then with the referendum of 2011, while there was a lot of high-level agreement and there was strong agreement, you know, different parties really coming together, what should have simultaneously happened was to look at this community-level peace engagement, community-level dialogue. And our Secretary General, Mr. Geleta, is very clear. You know, you have to engage the communities. You have to engage the tribal elders. You need to bring the major stakeholders to these conflicts to the table. Because keep in mind, these conflicts are not recent. These are intergenerational in many cases, deep-rooted animosities. And primarily, a lot of these conflicts stem from intertribal rivalries that go back into history and also a competition for resources.
How difficult is it proving to be able to get food, water, and medical care to the people who are displaced or people who are in fact, fleeing for their lives?
You know, I would at best describe South Sudan like a diabolical trinity, you know, where nature and diseases have been overwhelming. Having lived there, I know, you know, from vector-borne diseases to inclement climate conditions to diarrheal diseases. But when I talked about the trinity, the third part is the human element. And that has been tragic, is this innate nature of warfare, which has been going on for so long. So I think, you know, this is what that needs to be really addressed. This is at the root of it. There are major logistical challenges. Keep in mind, there is hardly any infrastructure in South Sudan. I mean, most of the paved roads are in and around Juba. I used to live in Rumbek, and you know, when I went there in the year 2000, 2001, I mean, 70% of the population didn't even have clothes there. So you know, it is kind of held back from the development dividend, and I think there needs to be the energy and the motivation of the international community to make sure that the youngest nation in the world is a successful young nation, because this opportunity will not come again, and we should not allow South Sudan to slip down where we've kind of brought it to. So I think we also have a collective responsibility to see this nation succeed.